Good morning, my friends. This is Manny Rodriguez with Deep True Crime. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. Hope you're having your favorite coffee or your tea or whatever it is you like to start your day off with. Welcome to another episode of Deep True Crime, where we explore what cases are going on out there or what has been solved. My whole goal in running this show is to help you keep updated on the things that you need to know about your surroundings, what's going on around you, because at the end of the day, you never know who you can trust, right? And so when you're following these type of stories, it helps you stay on top of what it is that you may want to keep on top of. So thank you so much for joining me this morning. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, my friends. In today's episode, I want to cover 3 current true crime stories that are currently going on or have been solved. In all of these cases, these are people that have, one has been, or 2 have been charged and 2 have been solved. And so let's go ahead and dive right into it. The first one I want to talk about is a confessed murderer threatens the judge and prosecutor. I know, right? Who does that? Only someone who is angry at the world and they are angry that they got caught. Generally, isn't that how it works? They get caught. And that's exactly what I want to cover today, my friends. Let me get the right thing here. There we go. And it looks like you're not able to see the whole thing yet. Okay, good job, Manny. You're not quite prepared. And you're running on low on time. So that's exactly what I'm going to cover here. Once I can get this right. And I'm wasting time. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so he says to the judge, the first one I'm going to shoot is you. So he threatens to kill judge and prosecutor at his sentence hearing. That's crazy, right? Like, you can see this is an angry guy. He's angry. He's upset after he confessed to murdering somebody at the Red Roof Inn in Rome, New York. He is now threatening the judge. Like, obviously, you have to have a lot of anger to threaten the judge. A confessed murderer lashed out in court this past Friday, threatening to kill both the judge and prosecutor. Today's Saturday, so that was just yesterday, if he ever gets out. Now, he said this openly in court. Openly. So I don't know if he'll face more charges adding on to his time, because this is an open threat. And he says, I ever make it back to Oneida County, the first one I'm going to shoot is you. And he's telling the judge this. And then he says, and you, turning to the side to the prosecutor. I mean, you have to be an angry person to do this. Would it not be fair to say? Because number one, he received a sentence of 23 years to life in prison for killing Benjamin Davis. Rest in peace, Benjamin Davis. And he killed him on November 15th of 2020. And this was a shooting at a red carpet inn in Rome, New York. And so on November 15, 2020, I mean, you're talking about lives that were ripped apart and changed forever. And Benjamin Davis's sister, she says, I will never forget that knock on the door of my apartment. A knock that no one ever wants to hear. Sometimes I still hear that knock on the door. That's sad by all accounts. And so, I mean, this is where it's a sad thing overall. So Wilfredo Cotto Jr., his attorney, Kurt Schultz, said his client apologized to the Davis family in court, but that Cotto made the threats after being confronted with video of the murder and when the judge classified him as a murderer. And that's when he got upset and made these threats. Well, if you murdered someone, you're a murderer, aren't you? Isn't that the definition of a murderer? I don't know. I mean, I would think that is the definition. But, you know, this was tragic. Tragic for the Davis family to even witness such an outburst. This is tragic. I mean, who wants to see that? They're trying to get justice for their family, and then this guy lashes out to the judge because he doesn't like what the judge said about him. And so he did plead guilty on September 3rd. And so this was his sentence hearing to second-degree murder and 2 counts of second-degree possession of a weapon. And so prosecutors have said that he shot Davis multiple times in the chest and face at the Red Carpet Inn, and that Cotto and another man fled the scene. And ultimately, prosecutors were laying blame for the shooting on Cotto and Cotto alone. They didn't blame a second man. But authorities did say that a man stepped forward, telling them he let Cotto use his phone and that the 40-year-old used a Facebook app on this guy's phone. The man later saw that he was still logged in on the account and found messages between Cotto and another individual. In those messages, Cotto wrote that he shot someone. And why would you do that on someone else's phone? Period. I mean, that's just a dumb move on its own. Okay? Granted, I'm glad it helped him get caught, but my gosh, I mean, this is the same guy that we're talking about who's threatening the judge in front of everybody. So obviously, he's not thinking straight. And in those messages, Cotto wrote that he shot someone. And Cotto and this other person got into an argument about a relationship, but the killer saw this was beside the point. So, you know, Cotto writes in this message, you're arguing about a relationship, and I'm telling you that I just dropped someone. So the guy on the other end, or person on the other end, is arguing about a relationship when Cotto basically just confesses to shooting someone. And so over the summer, he was open to pleading guilty. He was open to pleading guilty and just letting this thing move on, right? But he wanted a more lenient plea deal. And so prosecutors were offering 23 years to life in prison, and he wanted to serve just 20 years and no possible life. At the time, both sides reached an impasse, and Cotto said, okay, we'll go to trial. He's not doing life in prison. Those were his exact words. Well, guess what? Now you have 23 years to life in prison. So there you have it. Guy threatens judge, and now he has 23 years to life. He should have just taken the first plea deal and got the 23 years. But, you know, it still ends up the same way. The next story I want to cover is teens killed teacher. You might have been hearing about this story, or maybe not, but 2 Iowa teens, one of them confessed on social media about killing the Spanish teacher. I mean, don't people realize this stuff gets out? Other people are going to talk. Why do they think they're going to get away with this stuff? I yet to understand this. I still do not understand this. And so you have 2 teens that are charged with murdering the Spanish teacher after allegedly admitting it on social media. So two 16-year-old Iowa schoolboys have been charged with murdering their Spanish teacher. And one of them were bragging about it on social media. And this is according to the criminal complaint. And it's like, obviously they're kids, right? And truth is, at first you would think that, well, maybe they just said this for attention. Maybe they just said this for attention. But the body of Fairfield High School teacher Noema Graber, rest in peace, Noema Graber, she was only 66 years old, still had a lot of life left in her. She was found dumped in a park earlier this week. And this was hours after she was reported missing. And her body had been hidden under a tarp, wheelbarrow, and railroad ties. And it appeared that she had been killed by trauma to the head. Rest in peace, Noema. Rest in peace. Two of her students, Willard Miller and Jeremy Goodale, have been charged with first-degree murder as well as conspiracy to commit a forcible felony, as records are now showing. And so this is Noema. Rest in peace, Noema. Taken way too soon. Still young, still 66 years old. She's starting around the curve of getting a little older, but she still had a bunch of life left. She still had decades of life remaining in her. And how could these cowardly people take her life? Now, of course, they didn't just charge them based on that, right? These are the two students that have been charged. These are the two students that have been charged. And we will only wait to see what happens after this. But on the right is Noble Miller, and on the left is Jeremy Goodell. And they are being charged as adults with first-degree murder. They're being charged as adults with first-degree murder. And so they're being charged based on the circumstances of the gruesome crime. They were arrested after an associate of Goodell provided investigators with social media exchange, because they were going back and forth on social media showing he had specific details of the disappearance and subsequent death. Okay? So my guess is they're gonna come out, they're gonna avoid trial. This is just a guess. This is my speculation around this. But the details included the motive for killing Graber, the planning and execution, the means to kill Graber, like why they would do it. So, why they would do it. Now, the motive hasn't come out yet. They have not shared this yet, because this is an ongoing investigation. But there were also deliberate attempts to conceal the crime. And so, again, they did not elaborate on what the apparent motive was. We'll wait to know more about that. But the associate of Goodell, they showed social media communication indicative of Miller also being involved and present. Now, again, Miller is on the right of this photo and Goodell is on the left. So Goodell looks like he has more involvement, but Miller was there. And that's why he is a part of this, because he was there. And so after this associate gave all this information, the investigators used these posts to obtain search warrants, because you need to have good, solid evidence before they'll give you a search warrant, or before they'll even grant you a warrant to look and to do more digging. But part of this search warrant, they went to the homes and they found clothing that appeared to be covered in blood. And when interviewed, Miller admitted to being in the park as the murder was taking place, and provided materials, and the provided materials utilized in committing the murder and aiding in actions taken to conceal the murder. So he helped conceal the murder. And again, no motive has been given yet. It sounds like there is a motive, but they're not sharing just yet, and no given details on what the teens allegedly discussed in the social media messages. I'm sure they're saving this for the court records. And so this case is not closed. That's why I'm sharing this. This is one of those ongoing. We'll find out more as it goes. And the teacher, she's been teaching since 2012. She has been teaching since 2012. And she was at the school in Fairfield. This is a city with a population of less than 10,000 people. Just barely over 9,000. And this is nearly 100 miles southeast of Des Moines, Iowa. And, let me tell you, most people would be so angry by this. Family members are obviously angry. But her son, Christian, insisted in a Facebook message this past Thursday, a couple days ago, that he had already forgiven the teens that are accused of murdering an angel of a woman who was one of the kindest souls. And he says in this message, I forgive them and feel sorry that they had that anger in their hearts. There's no point in being angry at them. We should hope that they can find peace in their lives. That's what he wrote. That says a lot about this guy. That says a lot about who Nohema raised there. And so let me double check something here. Am I pronouncing her name? Nohema Graber. Okay. And so his sister, Christian's sister, who's also Nohema Marie Graber, she said, it is clear that they need more love and light in their hearts. And she says, we've lost an absolute angel in our family. She had so much joy in her eyes and such a deep sense of faith. And, even the Iowa governor says, heart goes out to the family, friends, colleagues, and students that are dealing with this tragic murder. Goes on to say, Miss Graber touched countless children's lives through her work as an educator across our state by sharing her passion for foreign language. Miss Graber, rest in peace. Rest in peace, Miss Graber, taken way too soon. And, we'll see. I'm sure that they're going to be facing some prison time, because it definitely looks like these are the guys. People sometimes can be wrongfully convicted, but more will come out as the story goes. There you have it. 2 Iowa teens killed their teacher. The next story and final story that I want to share with you is the vet tech who was brutally stabbed in her South Carolina home, and the suspect is a Juilliard-trained concert pianist. Juilliard, one of those prestigious schools that teach music. And this is another very sad story. So this vet tech was brutally stabbed in her home. She loved animals. That's why she became a vet tech. She loves being around her. You can see that smile with that little pug. I think that's a pug, right? And so let's start from the beginning. A Juilliard-trained concert pianist who who has performed all over the world, faces murder charges after being accused of stabbing a vet tech to death in her South Carolina home last month, says police. And so, on Wednesday of this week, Zachary David Hughes, he is 29 years old, of Greenville, was arrested in connection with the October slaying of Christina Parcell. She was 41 years old, way too young to be taken from this world. Rest in peace, Christina Parcell. And so we're going to find out more on this. Right now, he has been charged, and we'll wait to see what comes out about this. But he is known to be a well-known pianist who played in a lot of concerts. And according to a sheriff, according to the sheriff, it was a very brutal crime scene. And that's because she was stabbed multiple times. And on October 13th, shortly after 11 a.m., deputies were dispatched to 122 Canebrake Drive in Greer after a woman, since identified as Parcell, was found deceased inside the home by someone familiar with her. And Parcell had been brutally stabbed multiple times. Sad, sad, sad. So young. And not only that, she leaves behind a young daughter. Rest in peace. And during the investigation, they discovered physical evidence that linked Hughes to this crime. And that Hughes is Zachary David Hughes. And, we don't know yet if there was a relationship between the two, but it has been discovered there's physical evidence that links Hughes to the crime. And this ultimately led them to believe him to be the person responsible. Again, more will come out. More will come out. We don't have all the information. But he was arrested and charged with murder and possession of a weapon during a violent crime. And from what it looks like, the killing was definitely targeted. And it was more than obvious that he intended to kill her, and he went over there to kill her. So far, that's what their investigation is leading. They said, we do not have a motive for the killing, nor do we know the relationship between Hughes and the victim. Whether or not they know each other is still unclear. So I'm sure in days after this, we're going to find out more. On his website, Hughes said he graduated from the prestigious Juilliard School in New York City, a performing arts conservatory. He said he had performed throughout the United States, Canada, UK, France, Germany, and Japan. Hughes is being held at the Greenville County Law Enforcement Center in lieu of a bond. So she's in South Carolina, he's in New York, or was in New York. So, I'm sure we're going to find out more, but that's as much as we really know. But Parcell, she was known as an animal lover and a beautiful soul. And she worked for the last 3 years at the Foothills Veterinary Hospital in Greenville, which is also where I believe he lived, right? So, I'm guessing we will definitely find out more. But he lived in Greenville, she worked in Greenville. Maybe they must have known each other. They must have known each other. He's not going to, maybe, I don't know. We're going to find out more. I don't want to speculate too much, but this show is a lot with speculation, because deep true crime, we want to get deep into this. We want to understand why this stuff happens the way it does sometimes. So, you know, a Facebook post on October 15th saying, "We will all miss her more than words can express. She was not just our co-worker, but our dear friend as well." One woman memorialized Parcell in the comments section of the post, writing, "She has such a positive spirit. I am at shock that someone would hurt such a beautiful soul. Praying for her family and her sweet baby girl." I mean, this is freaking heartbreaking in so many ways, especially when you think about the daughter who's losing her mother so young. Number one, her mother at 41 is young, and now this young girl is without her mom for the rest of her life. She will never be the same. I mean, why would he do this? People snap, people lose it. I don't ever understand it. I don't understand it. I'm not a psychologist, and I'm not going to play one. But another well-wisher wrote, "Prayers for everyone. Christina spoiled every animal with love and care. She will be greatly missed." And it's obvious she was well known and well liked. And that's where it's just sad through the whole thing. So there you have it, my friends. Those are the 3 top true crime stories going on today. And we'll find out more. One has been convicted. Others are going to be going to trial or going to have some confessions. But those are the top true crime stories today. My friends, thank you for joining me this morning. I'm Manny Rodriguez, and my goal is to keep you updated on true crime stories that we should be made aware of. Why? Because we have to be alert of what goes on around us. It doesn't matter how alert you can be. Sure, sometimes things can still happen in a very bad way. But the more you're alert, the more you can be prepared of what is possible out there. I'm Manny Rodriguez with Deep True Crime. Thank you for joining me in another episode as we explore the ongoing cases. If this sounds like something you do enjoy, please smash that subscribe button, hit on that like button, and make sure you hit that notification bell. That way YouTube notifies you when I upload or go live. Thank you for joining me this Saturday morning. I'm Manny Rodriguez. I look forward to serving you again. Peace. Have a great